3, 2, 1. What's going on, everyone? You're watching Storytime Live. It's a Tuesday night. It's Taco Tuesday. Taco Tuesday, episode 118. I can't believe 118 episodes. Good grief. What do I need? I need to do something with my life. I'm doing 118 episodes of Storytime. No, I'm just kidding. I don't mean to demean the stream in any way. I just never imagined when I started doing this, it was a fill-in thing just to like keep the channel active because I wasn't doing comic videos as much, and I thought I could do. I just never envisioned I'd be just doing this. Hope you guys are having a good evening. Tonight's stream is brought to you by Heineken, brewed in Holland, lager beer. That's a green can for a green arrow. Heineken. Yeah, that was a terrible product placement, but they're not paying me anything, so. Nice and cold and frosty. Let's see who's first tonight. I got Ed Brewer. Ed Brewer's first? Nice, buddy. Nice. Melissa Harris is coming in second. And Snatch Face grabs the bronze just to check in. Says he'll be back at 1:13 when it starts. And he was right. It was 1:13 his time, at least, when it started. So good on you. Let's see. I need to start the timer. And that little beep there. So got a new thing that I've been starting up here since the last episode. It's a 30-minute timer. So I have this tendency to run long in the tooth. Is that how the phrase goes? Long in the tooth? I just can jibber jabber forever. The whole point of the show is to read some comics and talk to you guys. I don't want to just dive right into reading a comic because YouTube's really bad at sending alerts out. People might be on other streams doing stuff. I like people to get the alert and kind of know, oh yeah, it's Tuesday, Ash is streaming. If you want to show up, you can. You can roll in a little bit late and you still get the story, etc. But I know sometimes I've gone on like over an hour talking, and I've had people like RDV come in and be like, yo, Monkey Boy, it's time to read the books. That's what we're here for. So even though none of you guys pay me, I still treat you like the boss of the customer, so to speak. Try to give you one. So I thought if I did this half an hour and then we'd get in the book, we can always talk more later. I've always said the reason I don't talk after the comics is partly because I want that buffer. I want people to be able to stroll in and be like, yo, what's going on? Get that walk-in crowd, if you will. So if you are listening to this as a recording, geez, dog, you all right? Anyway, I don't know if you hear my dog in the background, it sounds like she's dying. I assure you she's not. If you showed up and this is a after recording, you're not live, and you don't give a shit, excuse my language, of, whatever I have to say, I'm just babbling on, and you just want to hear about the comic, you can fast forward. Can't give you the timestamp live. It's approximately 30 minutes after the music stopped. But you can just, drag the little bar on the YouTube, and you'll see the cover of the Green Arrow. Jeez, dog. She's like rolling around and sneezing, and it's really loud in my headphones. I don't know how much is picking up for you guys. So yeah, you can scroll forward. You'll see the Green Arrow comic cover. I'll pop up, and it should actually. Let's see. Never mind. I thought I was prepared. Lord is in the house. He says hi. Mirandi is here also. Let's see. And Ed says, hey, Melissa, I watched Chuck Dixon's videos. He lives just a few miles from me and is at my LCS free comic book day every year. Well, that's pretty awesome. I didn't know Ed was a Chuck Dixon stalker. Nice to know. Let's see. Ed says beverage, check. Snack, check. Earl Grey, hot, and coffee cake. That's what you're drinking and eating? Does anyone actually like Earl Grey tea, or people just know it because of Star Trek? I don't think people actually like Earl Grey tea. Snatch says, "Yeah, I'm back. Perfect timing." Damn you to hell. I miss classic Harley. At least we have DCAU and White Knight Harley. I don't know, man. I know that there's more than one, but I caught a glimpse of a Harley Quinn animated show. I forget why I watched it. I think someone posted a clip on Twitter or something when I went over to YouTube's and I watched it. And I was dumbfounded at how horrible it was. Like, god awful. Like, I would rather probably watch CW Batwoman than it was. There's no words. It disturbed me. It disturbed me in how bad it was. It bothered me in thinking that there would be kids watching this show. It bothered me that adults would watch this show because it was so absolutely moronic, but yet not suitable at all for kids. I was like, who is this show for? I can't tell you which. I'm sure there's like a multiple series of it. So, but that, whatever version that was, oh my God. That's all I got to say. Let's see. Ed says, long in the tooth is for geezers. What are you trying to say, Ed? You got something? You're trying to say something? Just come right out and say it. Snatchface says, long-winded gas bag. Thanks, man. You guys really make me feel good about me. I don't know why. I come here and I do this show for free as a hobby and a little bit of therapy for myself. And this is probably not healthy for my for my mental health. And you wonder why I drink. It's all your fault. You guys drove me to drink. To quote Evil Dead, it's not going to let us leave, Ash. Groovy. Let's see. That's great. I love Chuck Dixon. Can you tell him me and my 4 sons said hi? I could see Ed going, hey, Chuck, Melissa and her 4 sons say hey. It'd be even funnier if he was like responding back like, oh yeah, like what? Let's see. Earl Grey? Is Ed secretly Jean-Luc Picard? No, he's not. Ed says, sure, it's okay. Is it really okay? No one drinks Earl Grey. Come on, man. Animated show is lame. I personally prefer the DCAU original Harley and White Knight Harley as their far superior to Harley Quinn. Well, is Batman the animated series part of the DCAU? I didn't think it was. I thought that was prior to the DC. I think of the DC. I don't know. Whatever. I guess if you consider all the animated stuff there. Hey, Nalo is here. He says hello. Excuse me. Ooh, pardon me. I burped in here. I just committed a major live stream faux pas. Oopsie doozy. That's what Nalo does to me, though. He says, hello, friends. Here for the gab. Good to see you, buddy. I missed you on the show yesterday. We're trying to get Nalo, but it was last minute, so it's not his fault. Don't blame him. But we were like, oh, let's grab Nalo. And then, he's a busy dude. We need to set these appointments up weeks in advance to fit in his schedule. I'm just making shit up. Yeah, but we had a lot of technical difficulties, so it's probably good that you didn't make it. But we're gonna do another one in the not so distant future, because apparently Decorum just doesn't want to come out. We're just like, is the Decorum comic ever coming out? I don't know, but normally I wouldn't care. I'm like, you want to take a hiatus? That's fine. I don't care. I'll wait. But when we're doing a show about it, it's like, we need the content. So there you have it. I hate when I'm saying live on air. I had a weird dealio. I was going to try that chicken sandwich at McDonald's. You know how everyone, like, you you struck gold when you're a small little franchise in the world of corporate franchises like Popeye's chicken. but your chicken sandwich is such a hit that all the big franchises are copying you. Jack in the Box has a new sandwich called the Cluck, I think is what it's called. Because Popeyes called theirs the sandwich. So Popeyes has one, Popeyes is the original. KFC has redone their chicken sandwich. I forget what they call theirs. Jack in the Box has the Cluck, and now McDonald's is doing their. I forget they're crispy. I think they're just calling it their crispy chicken sandwich or something boring. Remember when McDonald's used to name everything Mc something? Like if 20 years ago they would have called it like the McCrispy sandwich or something, but now it's just the crispy sandwich. Anyways, Vankman had posted in one of the groups that I'm in that he's in also, and he had posted about it, and we were talking about the sandwich, and anyway, I'm not to bore you to death. I was like, I should try this. So the McDonald's app that I use has deals, and I was just going through because I was out on the road today, and I was like, I'm gonna swing and get some cheap snack in the drive-through for lunch. That's what I normally do, is get something real cheap, usually just a fries and a drink, just to hold me over. And they had a thing was like, for today only, if you buy one of the new crispy sandwiches, then you get a free fry and a free drink. Which McDonald's their drinks are really cheap. Any size drink for $1, which I think is really cool, because a lot of places the drinks are like $3 now. It's freaking nuts. I'm like, Sonic, if you want a large drink at Sonic, it's over $4. I was like, what is? And it sucks because that's the only thing good at Sonic, pretty much. And like, that's the only thing I want from you guys, and you know it. That's why you charge all this money. But anyways, French fries at McDonald's are now expensive too. But the sandwich is like $4 something. And so I was like, I'll get the sandwich, and then I'll get a free fries and a drink. And I've been using the app, and it's real convenient because you could just go click the buttons, get the offer. It knows where you are because I'm stupid and I give Google all my information, so it knows where I'm at, and it bills your card, everything. You just show up to the restaurant and say, I'm here for my food. You're like, oh, okay, here you go, pull forward, and you don't have to get your card out of your wallet or anything like that. You just boom, you just grab it and you're on your way. Except I show up to the McDonald's and the drive-thru is closed. I'm like, that's where I normally go through to pick it up, and I'm like, they have cars like parked in like yellow, that yellow police tape, like someone got murdered in the drive-thru or something. And I was like, okay, this isn't weird. I guess maybe something's with the drive-thru, but they have these little spots you can pull up for curbside. And you use the app. If you're going to pick it up curbside, you just park in the spot, and then it has a sign with a number, and you just use the app and hit that number. Say, I'm in. So I was in space 4. So I pulled into space 4, and I was like, cool, I'm here, 4. And someone will bring out my food. And then I looked over, and I saw the front door had a big sign on it. Well, not a big sign, a little 8.5 by 11 print, someone printed out a sign, stuck it on the door, and it didn't stand out because there's so many damn freaking signs on the door because of COVID. So there's all these freaking, wear your masks, all this crap pasted everywhere. So it didn't really stand out. And I noticed, like, it said restaurant closed. And I was like, does that just mean like the dining room's closed? Or what's the deal? Because you guys took my money. Like, I put the order through, and it, like, anytime I have it set, my bank account beep, like, it texts my phone anytime a charge goes through on my card. So it just, just in case you care, it's Jabba the Hutt actually goes ho 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 anytime my card gets billed. And I don't think that's clever per se, but I'm a Star Wars. Anyway, who cares? So my phone goes ho 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 ho, and like, okay, so I got charged. Wait, what the hell am I gonna do? So I have to. And then I'm sitting in the space, and I'm like, well, maybe they're still doing. I don't know. And then, like, a few minutes later, it pops up a little sign saying can't process your order. See the manager, or like go inside and see. I don't know. It said something like that, and I was like, okay, but I know you did process. Like you at least billed my card. Whether you process the order or not, I don't know. But so I had to go and knock on the freaking doors because there were people inside. Talk to the manager. And, oh, there's some water. They barely speak any English. No one speaks English in San Diego. Like it's at a fast food place because regular white privilege Americans, I guess, don't take these jobs. And it's true what they say. The immigrants all get these jobs. So even the manager broke in English. In fact, from what I understand, is you probably can't even get a job at a McDonald's if you don't speak Spanish. So that's, I guess it's becoming skilled labor. Anyways, long story short, I get my money back, and she gave me a free fries and a free iced tea because they already had tea brewed. The problem they had some sort of water issue, so guys were out fixing the water main or something. Anyways, they couldn't do anything with water. What that had to do with the chicken sandwich, I don't know. I don't know why they can't make chicken sandwiches without water. That's news to me, but they were able to give me a French fry and a drink. But she was originally going to just like, here, I'll give you this. And I was like, I had to speak to her through her broken English. And I'm like, no, I didn't pay this just to get the fries and the drink. I paid for the whole thing. I need my card. She's like, well, your card didn't go through. So then I had to show her that, fortunately, I have the text showing her, yep, no, you billed my card. Here it is. So, yeah, damn. It was a long story. But it was even longer me waiting there. So, are you glad that you came here tonight to listen to Ash bitch about McDonald's? So I didn't get to try the chicken sandwich. That's the whole thing, is I was looking forward to giving my review of the McCrispy. Nola Nerd is here. After midnight to everyone. Hello, Ash. Nolo Nerd and Nalo. I have this little secret that I'm embarrassed to say. For the longest time, I thought they were the same person. I don't know why. It seems so clear to me now, but Nalo and Nola, I just was like, oh, it's the same. I don't know why. Anyways, now I know. I can see that they're actually here at the same time, two different people. Snatchface says, geez, how can they expect you to read every sign on the door? Right? But now, and also to be fair, I was in the parking lot. I wasn't like at the door. I had to like read it from across, from where I was parked to the front door too. Like it wasn't, Harley wiki page using that crappy 52 Harley pisses me off. No love for Mad Love. Sick original gesture Harley. Oh, wait. Ed says, wait, they aren't the same person? I know, right? Isn't that a shocker? Snatch Day says, good to know that story is over. Well, thanks. No, says, that's funny. It's not my burner account, nor I his. Oh, no one was actually saying burner account until you mentioned it. What's the other thing I wanted to talk about? Oh, yeah, the CW Arrow. So I've been binging the Arrow on the CW. Hey, it's kind of thematic with this Green Arrow. It's the first time I've read, I think this is the first time I've ever read a Green Arrow comic, period. No, that's not true. I think there might have been a Green Arrow comic that crossed over with the original Metal that I read, but whatever. This is the first Green Arrow comic that I remember reading. I'm not a Green Arrow fan. I'm not a bow and arrow fan. I like bows and arrows. I've shot bows and arrows and gone bow hunting. Like, I'm not a fan of superheroes whose ability is that they know how to shoot a bow and they have nifty like trick arrows. I just think that's so lame. But whatever. And I gotta hand it to CW. They're doing their damnedest to make Green Arrow into Batman. He's really doesn't feel like Green Arrow. I mean, I barely know anything about Green Arrow, and I watched that show, and it's Batman. It's wannabe Batman. And I feel like, man, this is such a lost opportunity. I know that they can't do a Batman TV show for various reasons, but you could have done a Nightwing TV show. I don't know. If I were Warner Brothers, I would be trying to build out the whole DC franchise. You know, the kind of the way Disney's doing it. Disney's doing a fantastic job. WandaVision is excellent. It is not at all the piece of crap that S.H.I.E.L.D. was. Now that they're not letting ABC do the TV stuff, they're actually doing it Disney proper. Like, WandaVision is really damn impressive. It feels on the level of the films, and it's just a TV show. And that's what I was really shocked at. When you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you're like, oh my God, this feels like a CW show for Marvel. Like, it's just, it's kind of cringy. It just feels cheap. It feels very TV. WandaVision doesn't. And I know CW is not going to be that, but I would, if I were DC, remember when DC was doing their DC Universe thing? They were doing those shows on their online thing that failed. They didn't even try. Like, they went out of the gate with Titans. And I hear Swamp Thing was good, and people say some good things about Doom Patrol, but I would have built out with some of the not the D-list, like the lower tier characters like Nightwing. You can't make a Nightwing movie right now, I don't think. It's not a good idea because he's not really part of the lore. But you could introduce him as a TV show and do a good job. Anyways, I feel like Arrow, the foundations that Arrow has, could have built a better Nightwing instead of trying to turn Green Arrow into Batman with an actor who looks like he should be playing Nightwing. And he's got all of the acrobatics and parkour stuff that I would think would be more fitting with Nightwing. And he even fights with like two clubs like Nightwing. He's just anyways, that show. Ed says, "What's your power?" "I shoot arrows." Melissa says, "Hawkeye and Green Arrow are both badass." Sure, I guess some people obviously think so. I think bows and arrows are cool. When you try to make a superhero comic out of it, I go, no, it's not cool anymore. Let's see. And Noah says, "I heard the Arrow is a nice piece of lib/leftist porridge." Kinda. It's not, at least so far. I'm only in the second season. It's not really like woke. It's to its credit. I do like that. But it is liberal. Now, to also be fair, my understanding is that Green Arrow himself in the comic books is always a very liberal character. When he was paired up with Green Lantern, part of the whole thing about the comics, as I understand, was the dynamic of Hal Jordan being very conservative and Green Arrow being very liberal. And the show does, whether on purpose or just because it's Hollywood, portray Oliver Queen as extremely liberal. What they really do is portray him as a, how do I say this? He's a bit of a pompous asshole. Like he's just high and mighty, self-righteous, and he's very hypocritical. And this is one of the things that's driving me nuts. And it's really becoming more apparent in the second season. The first season I thought had some cool stuff going. And now I'm so sick of like Oliver Queen running around the show. Every episode he's running around the show and he's basically judging one of the other characters for the stupid shit that they're doing that he does himself. Like, I just got through a whole arc of story where Oliver Queen basically disowns his own mother because he finds out, and by the way, if you haven't watched Arrow, I'm going to probably be spoiling some stuff here. I know I'm very much against spoilers, but that rule applies to you guys because you have an opportunity to not listen to this and go somewhere else. I don't have an opportunity to not read your comics. I'm chained here, so that's why the rule applies to you. But anyways, so Oliver Queen disowned his mother because he found out that she lied to him about his sister. His sister has a different father. Dun, dun, dun. And the show also, by the way, is, you can tell some of the writers and stuff like come from the soap opera. Like, oh my God, it feels like Days of Our Lives in many, many parts of the show. You're like, this is Days of Our Lives with a vigilante. Holy shit. Some of the scenes and the dialogue are right out of the daytime soaps. Anyways, so he finds out his mom has had a fling with his arch enemy or Mr. Merlin, whatever. And okay, that was one part of the thing. And then later on, you find out that, oops, his mom actually had gotten pregnant, and his younger sister is not actually his father's. It's Merlin's, and it's only a half sister. And the mom had lied the whole time, even though he knew the other part of the truth. Even though he knew that she had a kind of a one night stand with him, he knew that part. But when she found out that she was keeping the fact that the sister was, that this Merlin was her father, like, you lied to me, how dare you, and he just goes on this whole thing, I've disowned you. And I'm like, you a mother effer, you are lying to your family every minute you're with them. Every scene you're in, you are lying to them about what you're doing, about what your father has done, who you've been killing people and not saying things. Like, you're breaking up your sister's relationship because his sister is having a relationship with Arsenal, Roy Harper, and Roy's going through this thing where he's got this drug thing and he goes like Hulk rage and he's dangerous. So he tells him, you're going to stop seeing my sister. And he's like, because you're a good person and if you see her, you're going to be dangerous. And because you love her, you're going to do what I say. And I'm like, oh, it kind of makes sense if you're good. Okay. So he causes all sorts of problems, breaks up her sister's relationship out of a lie, doesn't tell his sister. And I'm just like, and so you're disowning your own family because they had lied to you about something like 20 years ago? I'm like, you fucking self-righteous motherfucker. Like, these people have been before you went to the island, you were a loser, drug addict, slept around with all these women. You were a terrible, terrible person. And now you have the gall to judge these other people. I'm like, I thought I was reading watching a superhero story. And I was like, oh no, that's right. I'm watching a CW show 2020. Well, I guess this was 2015. 2015 era of, that modern, superheroes don't have virtue anymore. It's all about vainglory. Yeah, which I don't get into that term now. That's a big can of worms. Let's see. Man, you guys have been talking this whole time, and I've been ignoring. Joe Corallo is in the house. Hey, Joe. He says, never read those 2 Alan Moore Green Arrow backups he wrote in Detective Comics. Those were cool. No, I haven't. I would like to know. I would definitely try those out. I don't know anything about them or where to find them. So if you want to post information on where someone could read those, I would be very happy to know more. Let's see. No, WandaVision is one of the best comic book shows period that I've ever seen. It's really, really great. Even in the first 2 episodes, people have no patience to let a story burn slow and marinate. I think there's some truth to that, but I also think that WandaVision started off really weird. Like, I don't necessarily blame people because you got to kind of stick through it till episode 4. And the first 3 episodes are weird. They're only 23 minutes, so I guess you could stick through. I could see if you're signing on, you're like, MCU has trained you, expect a certain type of thing. And you go and watch WandaVision, those first 3 episodes of WandaVision, you're like, whoa, what the hell is this? So, I don't know. I think I've seen a lot of people changing their tune and going, oh, the show's really turning around and getting good now, and I take back what I said in the beginning. To which I say, thank you. Like, thank you for being fair and open-minded. because there was a lot of backlash in the beginning. I think a lot of that was just bias too, you know, because there's a lot of controversy around DC, and so people just want to see the bad. First season of Arrow was good, then CW happens and Snatchface. Man, Malcolm Merlin, his last name is a King Arthur reference. Yes, Merlin is King Arthur. I don't really know the Merlin. I know Merlin reference to Merlin the Wizard. I don't know too much about Merlin as a Green Arrow character. He's a badass archer that apparently, I guess, is from League of Assassins. They didn't really go too much into his backstory. Roy Harper, a.k.a. Speedy, a.k.a. Red Arrow, a.k.a. Arsenal. I thought the sister was Speedy. Or maybe they just changed things up for the show. I have patience of any three people. I do like slow burns, including Iron Fist, though Iron Fist casting of Finn Jones was misguided. I hope they recast in the MCU. Charlie Cox will be Daredevil, thank God. I don't think Finn Jones is a bad casting for Iron Fist. A lot of people give that actor a bunch of shit, but what they don't understand is that dude was like cast literally 2 weeks before shooting. They were like, you're gonna be, and then like in 2 weeks, like the dude didn't have any time to like go through the routines of like getting in shape, going through fighting training and stuff that you would need to do an action show. I mean, that guy was thrown in to the fire. And I am not going to hold any grudge to that actor. He was not given a chance to succeed. Not going to blame him. I'll blame everyone else. It's the same thing with the Suicide Squad movie. David Ayer was given 6 weeks. 6 weeks, write a movie. Write the Suicide Squad movie. Oh, yeah, direct it. Like, what? Like, what? No wonder that movie blew chunks. And then after he had made the movie, then they hired an advertising studio to re-edit his film. So everything that's wrong, I will not hold one single. Hey, there's the beeping. I will not hold one single fault to David Ayer for Suicide Squad movie. There's a lot of bad things about that movie, and I don't even necessarily care what things are David Ayer's fault, because once they pulled the plug, once they did all that shit, all the blame goes on the studio and the producers at that point. It's not his fault. Same thing with Justice League. Sorry, Zack Snyder walked away. His daughter committed suicide, and dude was going through some mental trauma. He stepped away from the film, and maybe Suicide Squad would have been shitty had that never happened. His finished product would have still been not Suicide Squad. Sorry, Justice League would have been shitty. Damn, I got the hiccup burps. You ever have hiccup burps? And who knows? I know we're getting a Zack Snyder cut, but that's not the actual. Anyone that thinks the Zack Snyder cut is what we would have got originally is not. That don't fool yourself. Zack Snyder is not finishing reshooting the movie. He's having to use footage that was already there. This is a Zack Snyder remaster, if you will, of the cut that we got. So it's going to be closer to what his vision is, but it's still not going to be what it would have been. So we'll never know. We'll never know. But based on Batman versus Superman, probably wouldn't have been that amazing. Trying to catch up. Night Olympics in the back of Detective Comics 549 and 550. Okay, so Joe is telling us about where to find that Alan Moore Green Arrow story. So if you are a Green Arrow fan and you want to read a Green Arrow story by arguably one of the greatest comic writers ever to put pen to paper, you can find Detective Comics 549 and 550. So there you go. I will try to remember to check those out. In fact, I got a pen and paper right here. Okay, I got to write those down. 549, 550. All right, cool. So I really do want to check that out. Okay, cool. I like Finn Jones as Loris Tyrell, so there is proof that he's a good actor, but Iron Fist was lacking all around. Well, sure. I mean, remember, guys, you can be a great actor and be portrayed like crap. Like, look at Natalie Portman in any of the Star Wars prequels. Like, she's a great actress. George Lucas is not a direct actress. I mean, no one did a good job in those movies. Liam Neeson was in those. Like, remember, like, it just because you see a finished product and it's bad, it's not necessarily the actor's fault. But I mean, that's just my opinion. Just something to think of, something to chew on. Melissa says Green Arrow is based on Robin Hood. Merlin is a wizard in DC Comics and the half brother of the Demon who is attached to Jason Blood. He's also related to the Raven of the Teen Titans pre-52. Oh wow, there's a whole lot going on. Snatch Face's burp ups are the worst. Okay, WandaVision has been pretty fun watching. Doug Johnson says, good to see you, buddy. Interesting to think about the 70 years of programming that we've received through our televisions, how it evolved or devolved over time. Yeah, I could do a whole show on WandaVision. There's so much to talk about that show. But we are here tonight for something else. We are here to try to remember how to operate things. There we go. Green Arrow. And for my dog to drink. I don't know if you can hear her right now. I put a water bowl because she sleeps in my bedroom with me, and I do my recording, my computer stuff's in my bedroom. So if I don't, then she'll get all thirsty and wake me up in the middle of the night. You don't care about that. So we're gonna get right into Green Arrow and the Longbow Hunters. This is issue 2 out of 3, Dragon Hunt. I think this is interesting that I'm seeing some similarities, and I'm a total noob on this. I don't know Green Arrow. I guess I've never really read Green Arrow stuff or his books. I've seen him in other books, but what have you. I don't know what the TV show has pulled from. I'm sure it's pulled from some of the lore. It may have pulled from some of these books. So we'll see. I'm sure some of you guys who have read these books know way more than I do, but here we go. We're going to read more Green Arrow. Writer and artist Mike Grell. Dragon Hunt. Wait. You must first learn patience. We want to know what you're going to do about the snooper. It's nothing you should be concerned about. A minor annoyance. You cannot let go of the arrow until you first let go of yourself. Magnor, your annoyance at some people in high places looking under the bed for boogeymen. We've worked too long to let anything screw this up now. Ever since the Iran arms fiasco, they've begun looking at us closer than my proctologist. Nothing can happen to... Sorry, some of this lettering is a bit hard to read. Nothing can happen to this first shipment. Look, Osborn, you don't think I'd let anything go wrong, do you? I've been at this for a lot of years, and we've never lost a shipment yet. I don't give a damn about what's coming in. I only care about what's going out. The machinery is in place, and it works. It's simply a matter of operating it in reverse. When the time is right, the shot falls from the bow as the snow falls from a bamboo leaf. Oh man, look, stop. So this is, pause. This is one of those cases, unfortunately, when they take an old book, they just scan it and do the digital, and they do this like frame to frame thing. Modern comics are really designed with digital in mind because everything's, so much digital, but this book was never. So look at how this transitions. It goes over to this shot, and I read that bubble or that box, and then I hit the arrow to go to the next, and it goes up. Like, that's not the order that you're supposed to read. You do not take the shot. The shot takes the shot. When the time is right, the shot falls from the bow as the snow falls from a bamboo leaf. Nice place you've got here, Magnor. Right on the water. It'd be a shame if somebody pulled the plug. Spend a lifetime shooting one arrow. Make that one perfect shot an expression of all that you are. What do you think? Cronin, I think we've got trouble. Lerner called last night. Lerner? Jesus. I haven't heard from him in years. How'd he sound? Scared. He called to tell me Wolchek is dead. 4 of the others too. We're old. It happens. It also happened to Lerner last night. They didn't die. They were all killed. With a black arrow. I think the past is coming home. You think this snooper's connected? I don't know, but we can't afford to take a chance. And we can't let our young friend know about this. They'll pull out and we'll lose our protection. We'll have to keep this tight. I don't even want our own boys to know what this is about. Let them think this is nothing but a snooper. We're going to have to handle this ourselves. Better bring Jankowski off the line. Swell. You gotta love this. Crazy son of a bitch. Yeah, crazy. But he's the last of the old bunch. Except for the Reverend, and his kind of work is right up his alley. One arrow. One life. Oh, gruesome. I don't care who you are. You ain't in Kansas anymore. And if you interfere in this investigation, I'll have you locked up. I just thought you'd be interested. I can tell you something about your Robin Hood killer. So entertain me. This arrow is Japanese, bamboo, 97.5 centimeters long, with eagle feathers for the fletching. The arrow spine is light, which means a lighter bow, about 30 kilos. Considering the skill of the archer involved, it means the bow is geared to suit a smaller or weaker person. Maybe a kid, maybe a woman. The weight of the bow doesn't make much difference when matched to the proper arrow. The shaft should penetrate a samurai's armor or the windshield of a car and still have the power to kill. The eagle feathers drive out evil. There is more to these killings than you think. We knew all that. Sure you did. If you're such a whiz, maybe you'd like to tell me why this nut is going around skewering the senior citizens. If I could tell you why, I could tell you who. All your victims are in the same age group. That's got to be another connection. Maybe insurance? Nope, we checked. The same high school or college. Fraternal organization? Past occupational connection? Maybe military? We checked all that. Only 3 had any college, and 2 went to I'm not reading. It just literally says that. We all checked. Only 3 had any college, and 2 went to WSU. I'm pretty sure that's an editorial editor error. Yep, they even made mistakes back in the days of editors. Sorry, continuing. But 5 years apart. And none of them, except Budry, has a past military record. Then there's your connection. Seems a little odd that out of a large group of men who were in their 20s during World War II, not one saw military service. That tunnel rat Budry doesn't fit the pattern. These could still be random killings. You can forget Budry. He's not connected with the others. I told you, he was a target of opportunity. But it does raise a question. If Budry was the slasher, like you claim, why would one killer kill another killer? I wish I knew the answer to that one. Whoever it is killed an old man 5 seconds after saving a girl's life and put an end to your slasher killings. I wouldn't be so sure of that last part. You've got another victim. Looks like the slasher's work. You've got the copycat, damn it. Maybe so, but prostitution is down 28%. With the AIDS scare, that's not such a bad thing. Maybe you'd be better off if you spent less effort chasing a dead killer and more chasing a live one. Don't push your luck, hotshot. You're only a hair away from charges of tampering with evidence and homicide investigation. Just because you've got a big rep doesn't make you special. Lieutenant, we just got reported on a homicide on the docks. A guy with an error. Jesus. Let me tell you something about him. He was in his late 60s, had no military record, and had one of these sticking out of him. That's 3 in this town so far. It's not over yet. Why don't you do yourself a favor? Just enjoy your visit to Seattle and stay the hell out of this investigation. Because if you get in my way, I'm going to bust your ass. What makes you think I'm visiting? He's popping Tums. That's time for a beer break. Continuing on. Kind of cute. In a weird sort of way. He's drinking the coffee. Pretty. Funny. When the lights come on, you see less of the dirt. Except the humankind. Look, Alice. The Lindy. Remember Chicago? The Try-on Ballroom? I certainly do. You had a thing for that drummer. I always liked a man with fast hands. Looks like a heavy load you're carrying there, Grandma. Why don't you let me hold that for you? Aziki! My finger! You broke my friggin' finger! Hey, you ain't allowed to do stuff like this. I heard you're supposed to be a good guy. This is so 80s. Look at these two white dorks with their boombox holding up on it. I may or may not have done this as a kid in the 80s. But I was a kid, so I get... Oh, shit, I just admitted. Moving on. Maybe you heard wrong. Tell your friends there's a hunter on the streets. This is my town now, and creeps like you are an endangered species. May I have the pleasure of this dance? Dinah? Dinah? Oh? Oliver finds a note that reads, Oliver, I think I'm onto something. I found a cocaine dealer who works in the waterfront. I think I can get him to lead me to his source, but it means going undercover. You won't see me for a while. Please understand. I have to do this. D. I want to have kids, Dinah. I want us to be a family. I was never ready for it or capable of commitment before, but now What we do is important, Oliver. Not just to ourselves, but to a whole lot of people who depend on us to hold the line. We're in a deadly, dangerous business. You put your life on the line every time you put that mask on. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. I love you, Oliver, and I'd love to make babies with you. But I won't make orphans. Oliver, I don't want to have children. This is a really cool piece of storytelling here. I'm not a super familiar with Mike Grell because if you know my history during this whole era, DC could have just been on another island. So I just didn't really touch DC. And back then, a lot of the creators didn't go back and forth. It was very rare. I don't know. Mike Grell could have done some Marvel stuff, but as far as I'm aware, he was mostly DC and Independence guy. This book that he's doing has a lot of experimental storytelling techniques, especially for its era. I'm sure people have copied this today, some of this stuff, but the way they're doing the flashbacks and these like pencil sketches to show kind of the reminiscing, I really like here, what Dinah's saying. You see this all grayed out pencils. It's just cool. You may or may not agree. We'll see. Moving along. Police are investigating the latest in a string of murders attributed to the Robin Hood killer, who has left a trail of unsolved homicides across the United States. The 4th Seattle area victim of the unknown assailant was found last night outside Magnor's shipping headquarters. The Kings County Coroner's Office has announced that Charles Cranon was struck and killed by a single black arrow as he stepped from his headquarters. Police have declined comment except to announce that the special task force set up to investigate the Seattle slasher will be in charge of this case as well. Well, now you found her. Now what? She's a big girl. Stay out of it. Let her do this herself. This is the way she wants it. She'll never believe you were just down here looking for a lead on last night's murder. She'll think you were checking up on her. She'll be right. This is all that's left of a life of a chalk mark on the sidewalk. And soon that will be gone. Just as a side note, I don't think that they draw the chalk mark outline. I don't think they actually would have drawn the arrow. It's not important. I'm just amused. That's all. The killer stood here, waiting. This was no random killing. The victims are chosen. But how? Hey, look at this. Sinful. A woman her age ought to be ashamed. Carrying on like that. Getting old. Seeing things. Don't even think about it, lady. I'm a little disappointed. It wasn't all that hard to find you. Finding me is one thing. Holding me is quite another. Think not of the target. If you let the shot go without effort, you will strike your mark. Travel with the arrow. Let your spirit guide it in flight. You've got a lot to answer for. Another time, perhaps. But, Master, how can I strike the mark if I do not think of it? Even as you stand before the target, you must be aware of it, even if you do not look directly at it. Aware, yes, but be not aware that you are aware. There won't be another time if you don't put down that bow now. Turn your focus from kujutsu, the simple shooting of the arrow, to shadow, the spiritual essence of the art of kudo. Do this, and you need not even see your mark to strike the center. I think not. Shooting at the target is more than shooting at yourself. You haven't the eyes of a killer. We'll all answer to the Lord in the end. The day is coming when the hand of the Lord will reach down from the heavens. Oh, wow. Arrow shot breaks Green Arrow's bowstring. That's crazy. And strike the lives of the Ewings and the Colbys from the face of the earth. Old and slow. God. Half my size, and she laid me out like yesterday's laundry. I wonder if Robin Hood had days like this. Whoever she is, she's good. Damn good. Trace of jealousy creeping in there? Face it, old-timer. You couldn't have made that shot. Crap. Latest victim of the Robin Hood killer has been identified as Arlo Vickers of Seattle, bringing the death toll in this case to 5. Yeah, but only 4 that count. Meanwhile, in an unrelated incident, police are investigating the mutilation slaying of Ignatius Brown. Brown's body was discovered late this afternoon in a dumpster on the waterfront. Huh? Police are speculating that Brown's death was drug-related, noting that he had 2 prior arrests on charges of dealing controlled substances. Jesus! Dinah! I'm looking for a guy. You're in the wrong neighborhood, Petunia. He was in here this afternoon with a woman. Brunette, so high. You might forget him, but you'd remember her. You do remember her, don't you? Yeah, sure. Iggy Brown. The late. Tell me about him. There's nothing to tell. Usually comes in here for lunch. Look, the cop's already... I'm not a cop. Which means I don't have to play by any rules. Now, Iggy Brown comes in here every day for lunch. Maybe conducts a little business. Nothing special except today. Today, he was with a gorgeous brunette. Today, someone invited him to a necktie party. A Colombian necktie. And today, you're going to tell me everything I ever wanted to know about Iggy Brown. He hangs out with a guy named Jankowski. A spooky old guy works in the warehouse down at Magnor Shipping. I think Jankowski may be his connection, but I swear to God, I never saw nothing go down. They're clearing away the last of this month's consignment. We've got to be ready for the next shipment the day after tomorrow. Your package goes out on the return trip. Just be sure you're at the drop point. My people won't wait. We'll be there. I just thought you'd like to know. We found a minor leak. It's been plugged. Any idea who's behind it? Jankowski's handling that end of the warehouse right now. We'll know tonight. He is very good at what he does. Would you like to supervise? No, thanks. I've got to make my report. Funny, I picked you for the type who likes to watch. Guys park their fancy boats down there deserve this. Right, Adolf? Whack. Oh, poor dog. I can honestly say I've never seen that in a comic book before. What? The hits on the target are only the outward proof of your mastery. Like the symbol of the dragon you bear, a symbol of dishonor. Both are meaningless. You have transcended goals. You are the artless art. You are shadow. I was thinking that. That's the girl Shadow from the show. Is this the same girl? Is that where they pulled her from? I like the Shadow from the show. I was really upset what happened to her. I want all this stuff cleared out by tomorrow. The next shipment of coke is coming in Wednesday, and we're going to have our hands full. Finished with your new toy yet? Nah, it's better if you make them last. Cripes. What a waste of a good-looking broad. If you like, maybe I'll save you a piece or two. Ha 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 ha. Crazy bastard. Hello, sweetheart. Did you miss me? Oh, this guy's got to die. Nothing. Ugh. I'm going to give you just one more chance before I get nasty. Who are you working for? Go to hell. I can gut you like a fish with just one stroke. Or I can make you last a couple of hours. You want a little of this while she's still got a face? After I'm done, she's gonna make you want to puke. Who? Oh. So, man, someone was playing Skyrim, took an arrow to the knee. And if you get that joke, kudos to you. On fire. Nasty. Oh. Boom. Dinah. Oh, God, please. Oliver. Sorry, I missed your birthday. Wow. What a place to leave off. That was good. I'm enjoying this book. Like, even though, like I said, I don't really like Green Arrow. Like, it's not that I don't like Green Arrow. I don't like bow and arrow characters. I don't like the concept. I always thought if maybe you had a character that used a bow and arrow, but it was like a mystical bow and arrow or something, like Artemis got in the DC Rebirth. Artemis gets that like bow of the gods or whatever, and I was like, that's cool. Number one is it sets her apart from Wonder Woman, because I was like, it's too many fucking Wonder Women running around. So you have this other Amazon girl, but she becomes like this archer character, and she's got this super bow. I was like, okay, this is cool. Like you're not just using a bow, you're using this mystical weapon, kind of like Thor has his hammer. It's not just he has a sledgehammer, like I wish they could just do more stuff like that. But that's just my opinion. What'd you guys think of that that issue? Well, it didn't make too many mistakes. Let's see. Well, you guys weren't too talkative tonight. I don't have to catch up too much. Wow, you guys really didn't. I scrolled up way too far. Snatchface thinks the tattoo is kick-ass. I'm not going to argue. Let's see. Melissa, I forgot he's not related to Raven, but half-brother is Merlin, the demon. Sorry, I'm getting them mixed up. No worries. Just, man, DC continuity is crazy. There's so much. Anyone keeps it all together, kudos. Parallax Creates. That's a name that I don't think I've seen before, so welcome if this is your first time. It says DC Universe Infinite is like that. I run into that out of order transition a lot. That's why I use the landscape view. The landscape. Oh, you're probably read like on a tablet. I'm taking it. I'm on a PC, so this is landscape view, but I'm doing, for the sake of the stream, this cell by cell. I think that's what you were addressing. Anyway, mixture of pencils and watercolor makes the visuals more stunning before going into the action, says Dominic. Yeah, I really like this storytelling. I wouldn't want this for every comic book. This reminds me of a style that seemed to be kind of... it was popular in the graphic novels in the 80s. Now, I was really only exposed to the Marvel run, but Marvel did this series of quote-unquote graphic novels that they would do more experimental, unorthodox styles of art. One of the most famous of the graphic novel series from that era was the God Loves, Man Kills. But I think that they did several dozen in that series. And they would not be like the same thing. It just, like God Loves, Man Kills, I'm pretty sure, if my memory serves, was number 5 in the graphic novel series. But the whole purpose was they would do these comics, but they wanted to separate the line between comics and what was for adults. Because in the 80s, comic book buyers really grew up. Comic books had been predominantly for kids all up in that time. Obviously there was still adults that read comic stuff, but it was a kid's thing. And in the 80s, they started realizing that with the advent of the comic book stores coming around and a lot of adults buying comics, that there was a market for comic material directed at an adult level. And the way Marvel addressed it, instead of doing mature comics, they did the graphic novel line, and they would get some more sophisticated kind of experimental art, not the cartoony comic book art that you were used to. And this Longbow Hunters fits right into that style, in my opinion. A lot more graphic violence and such. But DC, I don't think DC did the graphic novel series. DC did their prestige format. Oh, so they still kept their books as comics. Although, like Marvel would have bound this as all one thing. And I don't think that in the end, the graphic novel thing worked out well, because comic buyers don't want to buy graphic novels. At least not in their, as a collector thing. They want to go in and buy the disposable, cheap thing. And this has been my argument to this day about why floppies are important and why keeping floppies at a cheaper price point, because while there certainly are people that love to get these big deluxe hardcover books and spend all the extra money, the whole comic book culture was built around small bite-sized chunks, and you could go through, and then if you really loved it and you wanted to get the deluxe version, you could. Anyways, I'm way off on a tangent here. Let's see. Joe says Mike Grell did some Iron Man, but yeah, his work on Legion of Superheroes and his creator-owned series John Sable are both some of my all-time faves. Okay. I don't think I've ever read any John Sable, so I might have to look that up. Melissa says she's not a real blonde. Surprise! Shadow is a longtime Green Arrow character. I don't know if they're related in the pre-52 comics. I don't know anything about Shadow, to be honest. My introduction to her was in the CW show, because like I said, I'm a total Green Arrow noob. So it's cool that she's to me, I'm thinking it's cool that I'm like, oh, they didn't just make her up for the show. They pulled her out of the lore. And I thought she was one of the few cool characters on the show. The show is full of a bunch of... I sent out a tweet a little while ago about why is in CW, all the women on CW shows, with a few exceptions, there's a few exceptions, but all the women on CW shows are just insufferable bitches. Like, I just hate them. They're so awful. But then there's a few good ones, and Shadow was one. Like, I was like, oh, I like this Shadow character. So it's cool that she's, like I'm saying, it's just cool that she was a real character. And it sounds like she's a Green Arrow lore type character. Was this Green Arrow book, I have to say, I don't know when it came out exactly, but I want to say that this book was heavily, maybe if not directly influenced, maybe like indirectly influenced by Frank Miller. I don't know what Mike Grell was doing before Frank Miller came along, but this feels so much like Frank Miller opened a door to be like, here's what you can do in comics, and other creators like, yes, let's do this. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm reading into things because I'm a Frank Miller just worshiper, but I'm really enjoying this so far. And this proof is to the point that even if the subject matter is not necessarily your cup of tea, something that you would normally gravitate towards, that you can still you can still enjoy it. Like if you can tell, how do I say this? I'm all tongue-tied. It says something a lot about writing and storytelling when you can impress the audience, even though it's about a subject that they normally would give two shits about, right? And it's different when you go into something and you go, I'm predisposed to like this, right? Like Disney doesn't have to work that hard to make a Star Wars movie that I'm gonna like, because I'm an a huge lover of Star Wars, which says a lot as to why they fail. I'm like, dude, you worked pretty hard to fail. But James Cameron had to work double time to impress me with Titanic, because I was like, I don't give two shits about the Titanic nor any silly love story, but you made a masterful film, and I was like, I had to walk away and go, oh, that's a good filmmaking. So I know some people are rolling their eyes because Titanic is a popular film to hate. I'm going to be reading the third and final issue on Thursday. And for those of you that are still here, the following week, we're going to start a new series. I am going to be reading Jupiter's Legacy to celebrate the upcoming Netflix series that's coming out. As you all know, Mark Millar, another one of my favorite writers in comics. He's Millar World, his company that he created when he went all independent. He sold to Netflix, and he still works for it under contract. He has to write like so many comic series a year. I think it's like 3. I think he has to do 3 series. I forget exact. It's neither here nor there. But he's obligated to do this, and then basically Netflix just wants Millar World as a farming opportunity to make content, which seems really smart to me, like Disney and AT&T do. So Netflix Netflix is always kind of forward thinking. I appreciate that. I'm really shocked that someone didn't buy out Valiant. It really is, and now it's being held by this Chinese holding company, or I don't know, whatever, some Chinese Communist Party company owns Valiant, and they're just destroying the brand. So now no one's ever gonna want it. But imagine, I think if someone had gone and bought Valiant that really wanted to do it right, because you wouldn't have had to work hard. Dinesh Shamdasani had turned Valiant, he brought him back from the dead. And they had great characters, these great licenses, like strong foundation to work from, and you could have built something on it, but Sony got the rights to these things, and apparently they half-assed a Bloodshot movie, and it's like, I wish Hollywood would just understand, people don't go and see, let's say, like a Marvel movie, let's say like Avengers, just to say. People don't go see Avengers because they're like, oh, yay, comic book movies, let's go see. Yes, I know that there are some people that are like that. There's some comic book geeks that are just like, whatever, oh, it's a comic book movie. And that's, of course. But in general, people go see Avengers movies because they were sold on that product, and they were convinced after the first Avengers movie, regular MCU movie, and they built into a product, and now that has a brand that has built a certain level of trust to its fans that people are like excited for, in the way that people used to be excited for, like, say, Star Wars movies or other, franchises. They don't just go and just be like, oh, look, it's Bloodshot. Like, some people are excited for it because they read a Bloodshot comic once and they liked it, and like, oh, okay. But you can't just half-ass it out. You got to do it good, because when people go and they see it and it sucks, now what? Like, Marvel has got this super task in front of them to try to launch Fantastic Four, because that name has been dragged through the mud. Fox made 3 unbelievably awful Fantastic Four films, like, in a row. And now the next time they do one, so many people have been trained to be like, oh, Fantastic Four is awful. Unless you're a comic fan, you have to put work in it. The reason why Spider-Man is such a big film character is because of Sam Raimi, not because people were like, give me Spider-Man movies. Like, it's Sam Raimi trained them to be like, look at how amazing a Spider-Man movie can be. And now people, oh yeah. Same thing with Batman, right? Batman was a laughing stock from the last series, the 4 movies. Yes, Batman 89 was super popular at the time, but that was because it was a laughing stock before then. It was the first time people had seen Batman as a serious product on the screen. And, the production values, big star, like, just fans had never seen that, really. So it was, and then the following 3 films just flushed it all down the toilet. And then decades later, people just think, oh, Batman films are a joke. And then Christopher Nolan comes along and it's like, I'm going to deliver you the Godfather of superhero films. And people are like, what? It's just like, and now we're like, yes. So hopefully Warner Brothers doesn't shit the bed with the new Batman film, which looks like they're going to do. But cross my fingers. My point is, you have to show up and deliver. You can't just fart it out there. Remember Suicide Squad? They farted it out. It sucked. They thought they could bring it back and be like, hey, Birds of Prey, everyone likes Harley Quinn, blah, blah, blah. And then, and everyone just, it's a Latin. Yeah. Anyways, went way down a rabbit hole. So what do you guys think? Longbow Hunters is once again the brilliant marriage of story and art. Neither would fully work without the other. Oh, that's pretty deep there, Marania. And I'm finding myself questioning the validity of that statement. And I approve. I think you hit the nail. Because you're right. My first instinct was like, I think if the art was shitty, the story is still good. Like, we would just complain about the art, but I don't know. I think Mike Grell's storytelling, so much of his work is, there's no dialogue, there's no narration. It's all told through the panels and just the visual storytelling. And you're right. And that art, of course, does need a story. You can't, I mean, it'd be pretty to flip through the pages, but yep, I agree 100%. Marriage of story and art. Gigamock is in the house. What's up, my friend? He says, I read this comic a few months ago for the first time as well. It's solid, but didn't really live up to my expectations. Regardless, I still have to track down Grell's Warlord run. Oh, I would like to check that out too. I've always wanted to try Warlord. I'm upset I missed the DC reprint. Even in black and white, I think Warlord would have been solid. Maybe sometime I'll read some more. I've never had an opportunity to read Warlord. That is something that I should read. Melania's going to bed. Or not Melania, Melissa's going to bed. Good night, Melissa. Chat is dying down. So I think that's my cue to wind down. I'm looking over on Comixology sales because that's what Comixology does. Here, there's, look at God Loves, Man Kills. I told you, all the graphic novels, this is the one that always stands out. Everyone remembers God Loves, Man Kills. Partially because X-Men was, you know, the biggest thing ever in comics. IDW Transformer sales. Let's see. Beastars. Beastars is weird. This is really creepy, weird. I'm not going to go into it. DC Teamwork sale. I love some of the concepts they come up with these sales. It's the Teamwork sale. All about comics of people working as a team. All right then. JLA. I don't know where to jump in. Oh, not JLA. It's JSA is what I'm thinking of. I want to jump into JSA, but I don't know. Yes, I do. Yes, I actually do. I was actually gifted a book that I still need to read. That's where to jump in. Oh, this is the old, I think this is the Goofy Justice League that Eric Breen's always talking about. So much DC that I don't know about. It's pretty cool coming from old school Marvel fandom because I just don't know. Like it's like so much to discover. Look at this. The single issues for the DC Teamwork sale. Everyone likes to crap on Batman and Robin, the Boy Wonder. I'm the goddamn Batman. Yeah, but look at this. There's Black Canary by Jim Lee. So, stuff it. You can complain all you want. Jim Lee drawing Black Canary. You lose. DC. Oh, see, here's the Justice Societies on the Teamwork sale. Image Romance sale with full of BDSM comics. Very nice. That's nothing says romance like BDSM. What else we got? Dark Horse video game sale. You can look, Anthem. You can buy the comic book adaptation of the game that is one of the biggest flops in recent history. Dark Horse Women in Comics sales. I guess now is March the new, is that, I don't know. Blade Runner. Get Blade Runner. It's amazing. Gigamock. Did you ever, I don't need to talk to you on here. I could talk to you in real life. But Blade Runner 2019, fantastic. Well, there's not much interesting going on in the sales. I do recommend that Blade Runner, but that's about it. And you guys are winding down. I think I'll kick up the stream ending. I don't know where RDV and Breen and everyone went to tonight, but thank you guys for being here. Always good talking. And like I said, we'll finish this up Thursday night and start. I wanted to say Jupiter Ascending, but that's not it. The Jupiter's Legacy on Tuesday. Really looking forward to that because I love Mark Millar. I know it's pronounced Miller, but I just can't help but pronounce it wrong. Mark Miller. It's a book that I've heard nothing but good things about. There's going to be a TV series adaptation of it. That's looking like it could be pretty good. I think I have high hopes for it because I think Netflix really needs to launch this Millar world strongly, right? Like they put their money into this and getting all these books that Mark Miller's doing. You can't have the first one out of the gate just be dog crap. I think that would just be terrible, right? Imagine if, for example, like WandaVision was terrible. It would be okay because Disney still has the rest of the MCU, but I think that would spell doom. Like people would just be like, "Oh my god, all these Disney original shows are going to suck." Right? Like it was really important I think for Disney Plus to prove, "Hey, we're going to know how to make shows. Look at how good this WandaVision is. Stick around for the rest of them." Or another good example would have been like Mandalorian, right? Like imagine if they just completely crap the bed with Mandalorian and people would just be like, I don't give a crap about your other, you know what I'm saying? I think Jupiter's Legacy has got a similar situation. Like Netflix needs to show like, hey, here's the first thing we're doing and it's only going to get better from here so that people are very excited. Gigamox is in anticipation of the show. Yes, in anticipation of the show. So with that said, thank you guys for being here. Those of you that are making it this far on a replay, kudos to you. Leave some comments below. Tell me that you made it this far in the comments. That would really make my day. And if you're looking to do something besides read comics, come join me on Valheim on PC on Steam.